I'm Tom. I'm 40 years old and I'm currently in the best shape of my life. But 3 years ago, you probably wouldn't believe it. So I'm going to share it with you now. Before we get into it, I just want to be upfront about something. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm no fitness influencer. I'm a 40-year-old dad of three, running a business, trying to keep everything together. So if you're looking for a ripped fitness guru to tell you what to do, I'm not your bloke. But if you're a busy guy, maybe 35 to 45, and you're wondering whether it's actually possible to transform your body while keeping everything else going, just stick with me, because I've been where you've been, I've felt the struggle, and everything I'm about to share with you isn't stuff that I've read online. It's literally stuff, like real life stuff, through my own experience. So 37 years old, I had 2 kids at the time, another one on the way, and I was working a job that didn't fit my lifestyle. It meant I was away from home a lot. I definitely wasn't present. I definitely wasn't fit or healthy. My diet was no good. I felt weak. I wasn't motivated. I felt fatigued. And although the job paid really, really well, I decided to quit that job. It used to pay me about $160,000 a year. And I quit to start pushing lawnmowers and mowing lawns with my brother. And for me, I did that so I could be more present around the home, but it was also at that point I started to notice a change in my body. It really exposed how weak and unfit I was. That was my moment. That's when I realized enough was enough. For you, that moment might be coming, or it might already be. You might already be there, and that's why you're watching this. It was that about 4 weeks into pushing a lawnmower that it really exposed how unhealthy I was, and it was off the back end of the changes my body started to make naturally through doing that job that I decided to start lifting basic weights. And so this is the story. So I'll tell you now, the first few months were incredibly humbling. They were tough. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew that I needed to do something. So I started super simple. I started walking more regularly, maybe 20 minutes a day. And what the job I was doing meant that I was covering a lot of ground. So I was doing a lot of steps, which was getting the weight off me, but I was always skinny. And so I went from kind of being like a skinny fat sort of person to just skinny. So I picked up a set of dumbbells, which I still use, and an old bench, and started lifting basic weights. I initially, in those first few months, I was doing maybe 30 minutes a day with 15 kilo dumbbells, basic push-pull movements that I could do at home. After about 6 months, I started really noticing a change in my body. After 12 months, this is what I learned. It wasn't about a massive effort, and it's not about perfection. It was just about doing something that I enjoyed and doing it every single day, just showing up, even when I didn't feel like it, just keeping that consistency going. To be honest, especially when I didn't feel like it. It was incredibly humbling. After the first 12 months, I'd noticed this big change in my body. So it went from being super difficult for the first few weeks, first few months. As my body started to change, the motivation really just kicked in, and it actually got easier because it came normal for me to get up early and lift weights and walk and move. It went from it just became a part of my normal everyday life. So it became easier and my body started to respond. So a combination of motivation and the fact that it was becoming a normal part and a habit in my life made a huge difference. So there was obviously a physical impact that I noticed after the first 6 months, mostly. I really as 6 months of resistance training, just lifting basic weights on a bench out my deck. I started noticing the physical changes, but what I really noticed was the mental shift and the mental impact that the first 6 to 12 months were going to have on me. I started asking myself the question every morning: if I can't make time for myself or show up for myself, how am I going to show up for anyone else? Like for my kids, for my wife, for my business? And that's the question that really changed the game for me. Quick one. If any of this is resonating with you at all, please subscribe. I put content out like this every single week about real experiences, real changes for men over 35. No fluff, no gimmicks. But anyway, let's just keep it going. Year 2 is where things really started clicking for me. Like all the habits from year 1 started to compound, and I wasn't fighting to show up anymore. It just became part of who I was. So I went deeper. Strength training became something I was super passionate about. And I suppose the point here is It doesn't matter what you do, find something that you enjoy. Some people use kettlebells, some people just use dumbbells, other people might just do body weight stuff. The point is you find something that you enjoy, you stick with it, and once you get through that first 6, 12 months, the second year, everything just becomes dialed in. You find out the things you like, you find out the things you don't like, and that's when I really started pursuing resistance training with weight. I found a true passion for it, and I got myself a gym membership. I moved from the deck of my house with a bench and basic weights to a gym because that's what I wanted to do. I also, added to my dumbbell collection on the deck because I still do a lot of home workouts as well. So what surprised me the most about year 2 was, yes, the physical changes were really setting in now. I'd put on more size. I was feeling stronger. I was less fatigued. I was sleeping better. But the biggest change for me was internal. My energy and sleep just went through the roof completely. My mental clarity at work was completely different. And this wasn't just about looking good anymore. It became about longevity, about being physically capable and actually living the life I wanted to live for as long as I possibly could. So I wanted to be the guy 5 years from now that was still running around with his kids, that had energy to keep up with them, and I wanted my kids to be proud of their dad. Now look, there are obviously plateaus and everything wasn't perfect all the time. There were definitely weeks where the scale didn't move and weights didn't go up, and I questioned whether it was actually working. What got me through that? Well, I stopped measuring progress by the week and started measuring it by the month. So I zoomed out, and then I just dialed in and trusted the process. And then I hit year 3, and this is where it really all came together. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was actually thriving doing what I was doing. My body had fundamentally changed. Here's the part you probably really want to hear. I'm in better shape now at 40 than I was in my 20s. And I know that sounds incredibly hard to believe, but it's real. And it happened because of the 3 years of small, better choices that compounded over time. Here's the 5 biggest things I've learned from this entire journey. The first thing is consistency beats intensity every single time. Don't try to go hard, just go often and show up. That's the secret sauce. Number 2, sleep is non-negotiable. Yes, you can lift weights, you can exercise regularly, you can be busy in the day, but if you're not sleeping is where your recovery happens. It's where the magic happens. It's where the growth happens. It's where your body recovers. That was probably the longest thing for me to kind of embrace. It didn't happen straight away, but now I focus on trying to get 7 hours sleep a night minimum. It just worked in with my resistance training and kept things super tight. Number 3, what you eat matters more than how much you train. So initially I didn't do anything with my diet. I still was just eating whatever I wanted to eat. I was, fortunately the job I was doing meant that I was doing a lot of physical exercise. I'd started doing basic resistance training, but then I started to dial in my nutrition as well. And initially I just started making sure I was getting my protein intake in. I wasn't counting any calories. I just made sure that I was really fueling my body with enough carbohydrate to keep my energy levels high, but also keeping my protein intake high so I could recover well and actually start building a bit of size. Resistance training, sleep and diet, the 3 biggest things. And once they're all working in sync with each other, amazing things happen. Number 4 was then the mindset shift. Your body follows where your head's at, basically. So once you get your head right, your body will follow. And number 5, why did I do all this in the first place? To show up for my family, to show up for my kids, to show up for my wife. Every single time I didn't want to show up, or I couldn't get out of bed, or it felt hard, I just thought about my kids, the type of example that I'm setting for them if I just can't show up and be the man, the father that I needed to be. If I'm being completely honest with you, that's still my motivation for doing what I'm doing. When the mornings still get tough, even now, I think of that and it gets me going. So 3 years, 37 to 40, and this is where I'm at now. I'm not telling you this to show off. I'm telling you this because I was you. I was tired and soft. I was wondering if it was even possible to make a change at this age. And I just want you to know that it absolutely is, no matter where you're starting from. If you're a busy dad, a business owner, or a bloke who's been putting himself last for too long, it's your turn now. Just the choices you make now compound, every single one of them. If this video has helped you even a little bit, please subscribe. I'm here every week sharing real experiences for men over 35 who want to make better choices for their physique, mindset, longevity. Drop a comment below. Tell me where you're starting from. I'd be super keen to know where you're starting from and the experiences that you've had, or even if you've had your own transformation story. Like, I'd genuinely love to hear it. So I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in and watching this far, and I will see you on the next one.